Well, the Johan Cruyff Arena may not be full, but that familiar spectacle of the Orange Sea is all-encompassing. The Dutch back in tournament action, having finally ended their 7-year itch. A country with such a rich footballing heritage didn't find sitting and watching either of the two tournaments easy. They might be on their 5th boss since they last played at a major event, but they're back. The assessment of their first match varied wildly. Back with a bang, average, or bang average at the back. The reality was probably somewhere in the middle for a team who have an uncanny knack to hit extremes within the scope of any given 20-minute spell. 2 goals in 6 minutes against Ukraine, 2 then conceded in 4 minutes before a late winner. Just about the identical Dutch performance, and one that needs to be improved upon defensively when they reach the latter stages. But they've been given a great draw, win this group, and they won't meet another group winner until the semi-final. And it's that opportunity that concentrates their minds tonight. Austria had to call for the cavalry to get past the North Macedonians in the first game. 2 goals from substitution in the last 12 minutes proved enough to see them top the section after match day 1. That performance reiterated what we'd seen on Teesside against England in the warm-up matches. Das team, like the Dutch, have more about them going forward than they do at the back. They've never reached the knockout stages of the Euros, and it was back in 1982 that they last got past the group in the World Cup, when either tonight or against Ukraine on Monday, and their summer's primary objective will be achieved. The Dutch, in their famous orange, have Stekelenburg in goal, De Ligt, De Vrij en Blind, Dumfries, Frenkie de Jong, De Rode, Van Aanholt, Wijnaldum, Weghorst and Depay. Austria, Bachmann in goal, Dragovic, Alaba, Hinteregger, Lehner, Lehmer, Saberschlager, Sabitzer and Ulmer, and Gregoritsch and Baumgartner up front. It has been hot and sticky in the Netherlands over the course of the last 48 hours, but has cooled off this afternoon. Slight breeze, perfect temperature, perfect shorts and shirt without sun cream weather. I'm led to believe the humidity has now disappeared, which will play into both of these hands. The Dutch win, and they've won the group. Austria win, and they have gone through. A draw, and North Macedonia are out. It is the second game for these two in Euro 2020, and we're underway with Austria in all black, kicking from right to left, and David Alaba again playing as sweeper, as we anticipated, a role that he fulfilled so effectively in that first game of the tournament. And Austria have an early free kick given away by Frenkie de Jong for a foul on Dragovic. Alongside me, watching on our monitors in our studios in London, is Stuart Pearce.
Hi Jim, really looking forward to this one. Got a feeling it's going to be an absolute wide open game with goals, and I have been wrong in the past, but tonight I just have a good feeling about this one.
Well, the games in this group so far have had 5 goals, 4 goals and 3 goals, and you certainly can't see this one being 0-0 really. Both will look at the opposition and think that the best way of beating them is to take the game to them. And Austria aren't just going to be wallflowers tonight, far from it. They're on the front foot with Ulmer. They will try and get the wide defenders forward at every conceivable opportunity. Ulmer down the left-hand side, Lehner down the right. He was another that had an excellent game against North Macedonia. Here's Alaba. Alaba to his right-hand side has Dragovic. It's back for Alaba again, and the former Bayern Munich man, as he is now, on his way to Real Madrid on a free transfer this summer, plays it back to his goalkeeper, and it's quickly out towards Hinteregger. Plenty of early Austrian possession, not fazed by the quality or stature of their opposition, and it's 0-0 with a couple of minutes gone.
Yeah, it's a pretty even game. Both teams just feeling themselves out at the moment. Good shape to each team. They're going to make it very, very difficult for each team to attempt to break through the lines.
Just a couple of minutes in here on TalkSport. This time tomorrow we'll just be underway at Wembley for England against Scotland, and a reminder that we've got that on TalkSport and TalkSport 2, depending on who you want to win. Memphis Depay has it on the left-hand side of the penalty area. It's a lovely turn, but then couldn't find a way past Lehner, and the Dutch crowd appealing that The man was fouled, but nothing's been given. Austria hump it upfield, and Daley Blind is there to mop up at the back. Tomorrow night, if you're an England fan, TalkSport, Sol Campbell and Stuart alongside me for the commentary. And over on TalkSport 2, if you want the Scottish angle, it's Andy Barr alongside Paul Dickoff. The Sags in the chair, beginning the build-up tomorrow. We've got Jose Mourinho as well. It all kicks off at 6 o'clock tomorrow with 2-hour build-up, live from Wembley on TalkSport and TalkSport 2. But here and now tonight, though, the Dutch against Austria, still 0-0. Early possession for De Ligt, whose back pass was really shaky. Wasn't going to go in for an own goal, but veteran Martin Stecklenburg just had to stretch out a left foot to stop it going out of play for a corner. Dutch can work it forward. Good movement off the ball from Denzel Dumfries. Vek also has worked it the other way. An early opportunity for Depay. Left-footed ball from him. And as it bounces back his way in the midfield, he just nods it down for Daley Blind. De Jong back for Blind again. There was a stage that looks as though Blind might not be available to play in this tournament. He picked up a really bad knee injury on the artificial turf in Gibraltar in a game back in March. He didn't kick another ball for Ajax over the course of the season, but past fit to play in this tournament. A man with so much experience these days, Daley Blind, an 80th cap for him tonight. And as the Dutch work it forward here, they've won a free kick. Memphis Depay is just a haul to the ground. That's a free kick which will be taken by the Dutch about 20 yards or so inside Austrian territory. Taken quickly. Depay, getting a return ball very quickly, lost out in the heart of the midfield, and Ulmer now has the chance to bring it forward after good work from Schlager. Play back into Schlager's feet again. Schlager can't go forward with it, but Lehmer will pick up the pieces, and then Hinteregger turns very neatly away from the giant striker Weghorst, finds Schlager down the Austrian left-hand side for Ulmer. Ulmer running towards the edge of the penalty area, shown one way, then the other by De Vrij. Awkward looking challenge from Denzel Dumfries, went shoulder to shoulder with his man, but it will be knocked away easily enough by the Dutch, and Gini Wijnaldum will play it out to the right-hand touchline for Frenkie de Jong with 4 minutes in. It's 0-0 on TalkSport.
Yeah, this game's taken off from the offset, Jim. They felt each other out the first 2 minutes or so, but
now they're going for it. Weghorst on the end of a long ball through, well, not too long a ball through the inside left channel. Just couldn't quite time his run to perfection, and he goes through to the goalkeeper.
Yeah, ever since then they've both been going at each other. It's fair to say when you receive the ball you're going to be pressed, and pressed very quickly. That applies to both teams, so you've got to move the ball very quickly. But it's been a good start by both teams, to be honest with you. The Dutch looking for diagonal balls to Dumfries. He's won a couple of diagonal headers and set up attacks from there.
So Dumfries is playing as the right wing back, but there's not too much back about it, because he really will push forward and bomb on. Scored the winner the other day, had that really presentable chance, much easier one than the one he took in many ways earlier in the game at 0-0, which he headed wide when it seemed harder to miss the target than hit it. And that's all because of his ultra advanced movement down the right hand side, and when he goes, Martin de Roon, the former Middlesbrough man, just comes in from the right hand side of central midfield and covers that position defensively. But Austria will try and make the most of that, and they will try and get Ulmer forward whenever they can down their left to force Dumfries back. Alaba's got it now. Centre halves either side of him stretched wide, including this man Hinteregger, who's chipped it forward, looking for Ulmer. Mopped up easily by the Dutch this time, but nodded back through the midfield. Right-footed ball from Lehner is just a little bit too heavy, and it goes over Ulmer's head and drifts through. Out of play for a goal kick that will be taken by Martin Stecklenburg. Still in the early exchanges in Amsterdam tonight. It is Netherlands 0, Austria 0.
Yeah, the game started at a ferocious pace, as we had a feeling it might well do, and to be fair, both teams pressing each other particularly well, and it's on the turnover of possession. It's just finding that right pass in behind. There's been a couple of occasions where a pass has been on, but it's just not been seen early enough.
7 gone, and the Dutch have turnover possession in a dangerous area here with Weghorst playing it in towards Dumfries on the edge of the box. Sliding challenge from Alaba, got it away. Wijnaldum winning it back, turning one way then the other. A player who's much more prolific for his country than he ever was in the Premier League with Newcastle and then with Liverpool. And Gini Wijnaldum with a An outstanding goal-scoring record, 12 goals in his last 19 games. And they've got a very good record when he scores as well. They've won all but one. De Ligt on his return to the side, standing firm, the Juventus man, rode the first challenge, then the second, caught by Sabitzer, but the Israeli referee Aurel Grinfeld allows play to go on, and the Dutch will work it down the right-hand touchline, and it's well kept in by De Vrij. De Vrij, good turn on the edge of the penalty area, went down under a challenge from Hinteregger, referee says play on, and then Alaba gets involved, he's caught Dumfries, and the referee will go across and will take sanction that time. Junior Wijnaldum and Memphis Depay both talking with the referee, feeling that the challenge on De Vrij should have been given as a penalty. There is VAR, we've seen the replay, I don't think there was any contact, there was certainly intent but no contact, and it would have been outside the penalty area anyway.
I'm absolutely delighted that the referee's turned his nose up on the first one, definitely. The second one, De Vrij has gone down, and he certainly had his foot stamped on, and they've got a good claim for a potential penalty there, and it's being checked, and they'll give a penalty. If this is in the box, it's a penalty.
Well, Aurel Grinfeld is just waiting for the instruction from Pavel Gil, the Polish VAR, and they're looking at the pictures in Nyon in Switzerland, and it is going to be given, is it? He's made the television screen, he's going to have a look at the monitor himself. So going over to the referee review area. Now invariably, when the referee goes across to have a look, well, he's got to give that. He has to give that. It's Alaba, and he has just caught the top of Dumfries' left foot. It's in the box. What's he going to give? Penalty!
Yeah, he had no option. Good refereeing. What I liked about it, the players come over to him, they appealed for the penalty. He was nice and calm, nice and relaxed, and they went through due diligence and the right process and got to the right decision. And this was the right decision. Bit late on his challenge.
So Alaba on Dumfries, and the Dutch have the opportunity to take an early lead. Memphis Depay is the man that stands with the ball in his hands. 5 goals in his last 4 games for the Dutch. The player had a fantastic qualification campaign, and he now has the chance to score his 3rd goal at a major tournament for his country, having netted a couple in the 2014 World Cup as a 20-year-old. Daniel Bachmann, the Watford goalkeeper, has just had a drink, throws his water bottle in the back of the net. Memphis Depay against Daniel Bachmann to give the Dutch an 11th minute lead. It's only going to be a 3-step run-up. He stands to the left of the ball. Bachmann standing, arms outstretched, can't get that. Depay slots it under him, and on a night when the Dutch know that victory will see them go through as group winners, they have an early lead.
Yeah, this game has started fantastically well. Both teams going for each other, but it was the Dutch who managed to sustain that last attack and draw the penalty from the Austrians, and a wonderful penalty it was as well. Whipped it across his body, low, right into the corner, goalkeeper right way, couldn't get anywhere near it.
Really well taken by Memphis Depay. 27th goal for his country. And a perfect start for the Dutch. The foundation has been laid. And Frank de Boer's men find themselves a goal up. 3-2 victors in the first game. 1-0 they lead in the second. And they will win the group and get a match against one of the 3rd place teams if they can just keep a clean sheet from here.
Yeah, it was a rash challenge from Alaba, you know, a player of his experience, should know better. He's gone out, he's made the challenge right on the corner of the box, and there's probably no need to make that challenge there. Let him have it, defend him secondary in a wide area.
Well, it's a goal that is music to the ears of Dutch fans, also to those of North Macedonia, because if this game ends as a draw, they are out of the tournament. But a positive result either way, and the North Macedonians do live to fight another day, for now at least. Their chance is still negligible, but they'll still be in there in the hunt. Here's Frenkie de Jong. Midway inside his own half, turning it square to his right-hand side for De Roon, and now another chance to bring it forward for Stefan de Vrij, who's playing on the right of the 3 centre halves. and he's given real license to push forward as well. That was the role that Timber had the other night when De Vrij played in the middle. De Ligt in the middle tonight. Frankie de Jong setting it up on the edge of the box for Depay. His right-footed shot smacked straight into Dragovic has winded him. Depay just helping him back to his feet. The ball has ricocheted out of play for a throw that will be taken by the Dutch on the right-hand side. De Roon's going to leave this for Denzel Dumfries.
Yeah, really good block there by Dragovic. It was laid back to Depay and the unleashed one. Great strike, but Dragovic was equal to it. And this game, the tempo of it is not dropping in the slightest. I think that the Dutch happy to keep the revs up. The Austrians have to steady the ship now and get a foothold in the game.
Last time the two sides met was in a friendly back in 2016. The Dutch won that by 2-0. Vincent Janssen scored the first. Gini Wijnaldum got the second. Wijnaldum, the Dutch captain tonight. And Martin de Roon has just given a free kick away. That was a rash challenge, and he too is in the book. We haven't seen that many cards shown in the tournament so far, but we've rightly had one apiece in the first 13 minutes this evening.
Yeah, it was a little bit late. I don't think he's caught certainly as bad as he's suggesting he is, Gregoric, but listen, the referee decides it's a booking, so be it. Just looking at the direction, goalkeeper once again kicking to Dumfries. He really is the target. Fantastic leap coming off the wing there, and if the Dutch can't find a decent pass through, they're not afraid to hit that diagonal to him on the wing, and he's just got a 5-yard run on his opponent and just getting good contact and setting up attacks from there.
So Ukraine Austria, I beg your pardon, needing a response. They came into the tournament having failed to score in 3 games. Couldn't find a way past Denmark or England or Slovakia either. Ukraine, their final opponents in a match that takes place in Bucharest. Patrick Van Aanholt, just with a little stumble, was able to get back to his feet and still find his goalkeeper Stekelenburg, who at the age of 38 is the oldest ever Dutch player at a major tournament. Back at Ajax now, where he made his name. Is Ulmer bringing it forward for Austria down the left-hand side, finding Sabitzer. Haven't really been able to get Sabitzer during the game so far. A shock of blonde hair on the head of Shavas Schlager. Makes him very recognisable. He just worked it back for Ulmer, whose curveball inside the penalty area beats everybody. And he goes out of play for a goal kick that will be taken by Stekelenburg. The Dutch unbeaten in 5, just 1 defeat in the last 11 games. Frank de Boer replaced Ronald Koeman back in September, lost the first game, but they've only lost once since then. Had an inauspicious start though. He actually became the first Dutch boss in history to fail to win any of his first 4 games in charge. It's a good ball work forward now, down the right hand side of the penalty area. Weghorst looks up and he sees he has Depay in the middle, but he can't find him. The cross is blocked, and it goes out of play for a Dutch throw in an advanced position, only 3 or 4 yards in fact from the corner flag on their right flank. Dumfries across to take this throw, and the Netherlands leading Austria by a goal to nil with 14 minutes gone on TalkSport.
Yeah, very un-Dutch-like, if you like, with the reputation they have of a passing nation. Happy to go on that occasion to Weghorst, the big man, hit him as a target. His header into Dumfries, and they set the attack up accordingly. So they'll play through you if they can. If they can't, they'll go route one and set it up from there.
The throw is taken inside the penalty area and cleared. He's a big unit, Weghorst. He stands 6'6". And thought to be the tallest player in the tournament. 25 goals for Wolfsburg this season. He's in the middle now. They couldn't find him with a first-time ball in from Van Aanholt. Alaba had stopped the run, stopped Weghorst's run, and just created space for Bachmann to come out and claim the cross. Here's Wijnaldum though. He can't find a way through down the Austrian left. Play back for Hinteregger. And the centre-half clears. Headed away by Daley Blind. Through the midfield, over De Roon. Weghorst comes back and stoops just to knock the ball down for Memphis Depay. Back for Weghorst again. His ball back for De Roon, out towards Dumfries. Dumfries ever willing to push forward down that right flank for the Dutch. Goes back inside his own half for a moment for De Vrij. De Vrij to De Ligt and now to Blind. Blind Exchanging passes on the left-hand side of Van Aanholt. Now Memphis Depay coming in off the left flank. Saw the run of Wijnaldum, but again couldn't hit him. High ball that was into the hands of Daniel Bachmann. That was 17 minutes gone on TalkSport. It's the Dutch 1, Austria 0. Alongside me, Jim Bradford, is Stuart Pearce.
I'm just looking at Danny Blind there. He's just played a 1-2, run into midfield, played another 1-2. Real big fan of this fella. I mean, watched him a fair bit this season in the Champions League, and he's got such a great game understanding. It's incredible. It really is a top player.
Hinteregger driving forward down the Austrian left-hand side, and he's done well to win the seconds, get away from Dumfries. Allman's ball inside the box, slightly awkward bounce. Van Aanholt just leant over it and took the pace out of it. Stekelenburg comes out and makes the save. Dutch winners of this tournament back in 1988, their only major international trophy. And back on the tournament stage for the first time in 7 years, having failed to qualify for both Euro 2016 and the 2018 World Cup as well. Disappointments that followed them losing all 3 games in the group stage back in 2012. So they haven't got to the knockout stage of this competition for 13 years now, but they're going to make it through this time, you think. Ulmer battling, and Frenkie de Jong, who's only relatively slightly built, still has the physical wherewithal to be able to beat his man in a challenge. Just goes shoulder to shoulder, gets possession back. Dutch again look long. Weghorst chasing after Alaba. Alaba with time to take a touch and work it back to his keeper. And Bachmann, who only made his international debut a fortnight ago, plays it out to the Austrian right-hand side where Dragovic launches it forward. The Dutch leading after Memphis Depay's penalty on 11 minutes following a foul by Alaba on Dumfries. And we played another 8 minutes since then, and it's still 1-0.
Yeah, it's fair to say, Jim, in this game you've got to be technically good at receiving the ball and moving that ball on quickly. If you're not, you'll get closed down by either team very, very quickly, and it's the team that do that and deal with the ball, certainly in these early stages until the pace of this game settles down, because it is frenetic at the moment.
Now possession, almost 60-40 in Austria's favour, but they haven't been able to create a single opportunity so far. Just given another free kick away here for a foul by Martin Hinteregger, who is left-footed centre-half with more than 50 caps behind him, the Eintracht Frankfurt defender. There's a chance for the Dutch to get it forward again. Playing into the feet of De Roon, who's had 2 very successful spells with Atalanta sandwiched around that season he had in the Premier League with Middlesbrough. Weghorst battling with Alaba. Alaba's able to win that. The Austrian captain knocks it away, and then it's headed out by De Vrij. A throw which will be taken on the Austrian left-hand side, about 20 yards or so inside their own half. Netherlands 1, Austria 0. A reminder, if anyone necessary, of what's coming up for you tomorrow. Our coverage starting on England-Scotland Day with Sweden against Slovakia, which is a match taking place in Spain's group. It's a 2 o'clock kickoff on TalkSport 2. The other game in the England-Scotland group, Croatia against the Czech Republic, is with Alex Crook and Chris Iwelumo and Jim White in the chair for that. 5 o'clock kickoff. And then the build-up on TalkSport ahead of England-Scotland live from Wembley starts at 6. England-Scotland, England-focused commentary on TalkSport and a Scotland-focused commentary on TalkSport 2. Give you the option on the TalkSport network. Alaba playing it back to his goalkeeper. Dutch leading 1-0. And they'll be through as group winners if it stays this way. And they would play a team, as I mentioned earlier, that is one of the best third-place runners-up. If you finish second in this group, then you get the winners of Group A, which is going to be either Italy or Wales. You definitely want to be playing a third-place team rather than either of that. Here's Van Aanholt. Forward towards Memphis Depay. Van Aanholt stayed down for a moment. Depay did well, got the ball in, just not quite enough height to find Weghorst. It's cleared by the Austrians only as far as Blind. David Blind exchanging passes with De Ligt, flicked on by Frenkie de Jong. Alaba's there to mop up and work it back to his goalkeeper, and Bachmann will get it away. The Netherlands 1, Austria 0.
Yeah, what the Austrians are doing quite well, they're pressing the Dutch quite high when they get chance and almost locking on the front six locking on man for man, but where the Dutch have got the advantage over the Austrians, that when they do the same, is the Dutch can miss out the press and go straight to the likes of Dumfries or alternatively Weghorst, and they miss it out and set the attack up by taking out probably 6 of the Austrian pressers, and that is a big advantage for the Dutch.
Now here's Frankie de Jong bringing it forward. Schlager was in there with a challenge to win it back. Alaba, such a talented player with the ball at his feet, with a magnificent career already behind him. He's playing as the sweeper, hasn't had too many opportunities to get the ball forward, because whenever it comes his way, he's put under pressure. And the 2 other playmakers in the side, Schlager, the deepest line midfielder, and Savitz are playing on the left of central midfield, just can't get in the game. No. Because the Dutch are playing past them. They're just cutting them out completely. So Austria can't get going.
Yeah, I've been having a close look at Schlager, and you're right, he's off the pace of the game by almost no fault of his own. It's going on so quickly around him, and he can't get anywhere near anyone to either get a tackle or alternatively find some space to get on the ball.
Very highly regarded as Savitz Schlager. He scored against Northern Ireland 3 years ago. It's his only international goal. Plays his club football in Germany with Wolfsburg, where he's a teammate of the big Dutch striker Van Weghorst. Here's Depay making his way forward, and he's rattled the side netting, claiming that Backman helped it on its way past, but not convinced that there was a touch, and it will be a goal kick which will be taken by Austria. But it's just one long throw forward, took Alaba out of the picture. Depay raced onto it, hit it first time. Backman had it covered.
It's almost very un-Dutch-like, really. Happy to go from back to front, and hit that ball beyond. The good thing is as well, they can offer you a bit of both. They'll play through you, and they've done that extremely well on these occasions, and Blind is fantastic at it. But also as well, to have that threat in behind, it really is a problem. If you know a team are just really good at one thing, at least you can set your stall out accordingly. If you know they can do either, it really does cause you a problem.
So we haven't seen, with the way that the Dutch are playing, we haven't seen the subtlety and artistry of Frankie de Jong in the midfield so far. And as you say, that is not the one is plan A and one's plan B. I mean, they're both very high up there. The way that De Boer has set his side out tonight happens to be that they're looking long, but they've been able to negate Austria's chief attacks down the left-hand side, because that is the side of the pitch that they favour. They've had so much to worry about with Dumfries pushing forward down that touchline, the near touchline, as we look at these pictures, that they just can't get out. And possession now in the Dutch favour, just a shade over 50-50, but they've still had the monopoly on chances so far, and Austria struggling to work this one out. Alaba's got it, he's 15 yards aside his own half. What's been a tough night for him so far, given the penalty away. He's on a yellow card, a couple of loose touches since then as well. Here's Schlager, Sabitzer played in, his dark hair tied up, now finding Schlager again, turning it through the midfield. What's that, a look at the Tom Davis about him, with his blonde hair. Dutch turning over possession again inside their own half, play it out towards Memphis Depay. Depay back to the cultured Frankie de Jong. De Jong for Wijnaldum. Now Stefan de Vrij, another player who won the Italian League this year with Inter Milan, teammate of Ashley Young there, who has signed for Aston Villa today. If you haven't been across the footballing news over the course of the afternoon, it's Frankie de Jong playing it back for Depay. You would talk sport, and it's still 1-0 to the Dutch on home turf in Amsterdam. We're 26 minutes in. All given away by Depay, because he was expecting Van Aanholt to be able to continue his run down the left-hand touchline. That run wasn't forthcoming. He's just been caught by Gregoritsch. Goes out of play for a throw, which will be taken on the Austrian right-hand side. But the ball's been good value for it at the moment. 1-0 is more than deserved.
Yeah, the Netherlands just growing into the game. You feel as though as the game goes on, they're growing into it. But Austria have got to keep at it, keep the tempo up high.
Here's Baumgartner cutting inside the penalty area. That could have gone anywhere. The right-footed rasping shot that Matthijs de Ligt got his head to, but having got his head to it, it took the sting out of it, bounced down awkwardly on the edge of the 6-yard box. Stekelenburg threw himself forward and made the save. It didn't quite knock De Ligt off his feet. It certainly hurt as he headed it down. Having seen the replay, it's bounced back up, hit his inner thigh and gone in behind him. That could easily have fallen for Gregoric in the middle. Camera pans to Marko Arnautovic, who just has a watching brief tonight, having given a verbal volley to Gianni Alioski in that first game. He's serving a 1-match suspension for insulting an opponent. Arnautovic with his head in his hands, the only moment really of any Austrian potency in and around the edge of the penalty area. It's 1-0 to the Dutch on TalkSport.
Yeah, and it just makes you wonder how much they'll miss his energy up front, Marco. I'm sure he's a big blow that he's not, for himself certainly, that he's not playing in this game. And just looking, the Austrians, the only time they've looked threatening is in this inside left position, just in behind Dumfries.
Well, they play it in now from that kind of area with Gregoric chasing the ball forward. Sabitzer was the man that had played him in. It's half clear, back out towards Ulmer, but that was the chance that they had the space that time. They got it behind Dumfries, and Sabitzer made his run into a more central area to try and do some damage.
Yeah, it's Dumfries likes to get forward, and that little space just in behind him, just exploiting De Vries just coming out into that area, and he's the one who's had to go out and deal with the odd thing. Good movement into that area, and on that occasion just dipped inside and got his shot away.
Alaba sending it forward, but not a great long pass straight through for Martin Stekelenburg. Stekelenburg, who played in the World Cup final back in 2010. He's had a long and illustrious international career. Getting his chance in his 39th year because of the injury to Jasper Cillessen, who's out of this tournament with a knee injury. Stekelenburg only 8 games at club level in the previous 3 years before his return to Ajax, but back his first choice in Amsterdam on this ground. Won the double, now finds himself back playing tournament football again for his country. Former Fulham, Everton and Southampton keeper. Ball down on the right-hand side of the Dutch midfield with Gini Wijnaldum. Half hour gone, and it's 1-0.
Yeah, just looking at the differences between the two sides there. The Dutch pressed the Austrians there. Backman had no choice, had to go long, and the Dutch just deal with it and mop it up at the back. They've not got as much aerial threat as the Dutch have, and it makes them, I wouldn't say one-dimensional, that's too difficult to say, but from the Dutch's point of view, we'll play through you, or if we've got to go long, we've got an aerial threat in Weghorst.
Yeah, he's a player that offers much more of a standout target than, say, Luc de Jong playing in that kind of area. Memphis Depay himself has seen plenty of action playing through the middle, but I think the way that they use Depay and Weghorst in tandem, with Depay almost playing wide as the second striker, as an inside left, has proved to be most effective as far as the men in orange are concerned. Leading by a goal to nil on TalkSport.
It's almost, if you didn't know better, and we were talking a generation ago, it's Toshak and Keegan, isn't it? The big one and the quick one, you know, and it's pretty effective.
Now you are showing your age. The ball is played forward down the Austrian left-hand side. Baumgartner ends up running into the line. He's got a free kick. About 3 yards in from the left-hand touchline and way outside the penalty area. Dutch again seeking the referee, just acting as defence counsel, but that was cynical, despite the waving of an admonishing finger from Frank de Boer saying it was no foul. De Vrij knew exactly what he was doing there, stepping across the line and just shouldering arms.
Yeah, they've got a physical presence in the back line. There's certainly 2 of the back 3 for the Dutch who've got a physical presence about them.
There's Lehmer. And Lehner will chase after it down the Austrian right. The right wing back's gone out of play though for a throw, which should be taken on the Dutch left. In terms of perceived weaknesses as far as Austria are concerned, defending aerial ball inside their penalty area has been a problem in the past, which obviously we're playing to Weghorst's hands, and hence the tactics, and try and exploit Franco Foda's men that way. Maybe a few individual positional errors at the back. They just haven't been able to get to grips with the variety of the Dutch tactics tonight so far. The Orange leading by a goal to nil. Work it forward long this time, but Alaba has got a significant head start. Backman will come out of his penalty area and pick it up anyway, and then Alaba will just go to his left and play it forward for Hinteregger, the blonde-head centre-half, and now Sabitzer with a long, straight ball, which will be chased down the right-hand side of the penalty area by Lema. But it beat him. But that time they mixed it up and looked long, trying to turn the Dutch back line. Just couldn't quite get the execution of the pass right.
Yeah, attempted ball there. Good movement in behind, actually. Just cut inside Blind, but just the run was tracked and it was just overhit, and goalkeeper got there in time.
So the Dutch leading by a goal to nil. Austria won against North Macedonia the other day, which was their first ever win in the Euros. In fact, their first tournament win since they beat the United States in the World Cup in 1990. I'm hoping today to make it 2 out of 2, and that's something they haven't done since the 1982 World Cup. Back in the days of Tony Polster. There's Ulmer playing the ball through the midfield. Schlager flicking it back to Ulmer again. And the referee has stopped play. No advantage. Foul by Dumfries. He just caught Schlager, who's very quickly back on his feet. And Austria have a free kick, which they take quickly, one centre-half to another. Back for Alaba. Now down towards Ulmer. Ulmer bringing it forward. The left wing-back venturing into Dutch territory. Just trying to draw the challenge of Dumfries. Got past him easily enough. Finding Lema in the midfield. Lema in a very central area, getting within about 15 yards of the edge of the Dutch box. Then he goes square to his right-hand side for Dragovic. Dragovic's ball forward was telegraphed, but Van Aanholt couldn't get it under control, and it's squirted away off his left foot and goes out of play for a throw. Now Sabitzer has it. Sabitzer, who so skillful, but they haven't been able to get him into the game. Alaba inside the centre circle. He will venture forward. To his left is Hinteregger. Hinteregger, left-footed shot, and Stekelenburg correctly judging that was going to clear his bar. He's brought his hands down under the flight of the ball. It's out of play for a goal kick, and the Dutch lead Austria by a goal to nil, just over 10 minutes to go to the break on TalkSport.
Yeah, I'm not overly sure there, Jim, whether that was the right option for Hinteregger. He's a long, long way out, and it was always rising, going over the crossbar. At this moment in time, the Austrians just lacking that little bit of cutting edge, aren't they? They're playing reasonably well in the game, pressing okay, but it looks like the Dutch that have got a little bit more in front of goal and a little bit more threat up front than the Austrians have.
Scored those 3 goals against North Macedonia the other day, having only ever scored 2 goals in the Euros prior to that. So they've now scored 5 goals in this competition. 4 of them have come from substitutes, including 2 the other day where Gregoric and Arnautovic both came off the bench to very good effect. Only Gregoric a place in the starting lineup, and I'm sure Arnie would have been in the starting lineup as well had it not been for his suspension. Baumgartner, who has retained his place, just is another that they haven't been able to service at all up to this point. Dutch have it with Daley Blind. He's making his way forward into Austrian territory. Schlager's come back and is in there strongly, dispossessing Depay. 4 down towards Baumgartner on the Austrian left. Good run off the ball from midfield from Hinteregger. He's finding himself in a very advanced position, almost total football from the Austrians, as the left-footed centre-half ended up on the left wing, and it goes out of play for a throw that Ulmer will take.
I think in the modern day game, if you're playing 3 at the back, one of your centre-halves, the wide centre-halves, have got to go and supplement the midfield and beyond. I really do, because they're the ones who'll see the space, they can identify it, and often they can go unmarked.
Well, in this team, it's much more likely to be Hinteregger than Dragovic who will be given the opportunity to do that. And Hinteregger, camera on him, just shown to be blowing a little bit as he makes his way back. The challenge then by Weghorst has given a free kick away, caught Schlager. Van Weghorst, a real big unit, a man that has had an excellent 2 or 3 seasons in German football, and has scored in his last 2 internationals now. First goals that he scored for his country. Is Daley Blind turned round the corner by Weghorst. Memphis Depay, the goal scorer tonight from the penalty spot. And the Bulls men lead 1-0. That's enough for them to win the group if it stays this way. Austria will be by no means out of it. It would certainly increase the stakes of their match, which comes up against Ukraine on Monday. And we'll bring you that one on Talk Sport 2. There are 5 o'clock kickoff, the final games in this group next Monday. The Dutch against North Macedonia and Austria-Ukraine. De Vrij turned back inside his own half. Stekelenburg just lets the ball run back inside his own penalty area, now clears, long, right-footed, ball spinning in the Dutch sky onto the head of the right-back Lena. Now Schlager trying to chip the ball forward. Baumgartner was waiting for it. It's cleared back through the midfield by the Dutch. Schlager back on his feet, tried to get his head to it but couldn't effectively. And he goes out for a throw that is taken quickly by Van Aanholt. He put Blind under pressure, and Blind then ends up on the deck. He was just caught off the ball there by Gregorich, who very quickly offered the hand of apology both to opponent and referee. And play will resume with the Dutch free kick.
Yeah, rather careless and ridiculously late. Not much in it, to be fair. He's kept his feet, and it was just body on body, if I'm being honest with you.
If Gregorich had been any later there, he'd have been tackling Daley Blind's old man. I mean, that's how late he was. He looks more like his dad as well with every passing month, doesn't he? I think it's possibly the receding hairline these days. He looks just like Danny Blind did as a player.
I think we all get to look like our dad eventually, and we dance like them.
I always dance like mine, but thankfully don't have the hairline yet. Here is Blind. I thought we were going to say we all end up looking like Danny Blind. So you speak for yourself. Here's an opportunity for the Dutch to bring it forward to Vrij. Now De Roon. Weghorst making an early run, and it's a great ball to find him. Hits it first time, he's knocked it back. Depay over the bar from 3 yards out. How did he miss? Great ball forward. Weghorst found the space, set up beautifully for him for a first-time shot, but he had the presence of mind to see Depay out of the corner of his eye, played him in, and Depay had so much time, could have brought it down, taken a touch, hit it first time, and put it halfway to Rotterdam.
Well, there would have been a question mark and a check whether this was offside or not, but as soon as the Dutch saw the opportunity, Depay set sail in one direction, Weghorst the other. Weghorst was the one on the ball. If I was him, I think I'd have taken the shot on, but unselfishly he's pulled it back to Depay, who uncommonly has skied it instead of rolling it in the back of the net.
Here's Depay again. Van Aanholt. Van Aanholt inside the penalty area onto his right foot. Wijnaldum with a shot which was blocked on the edge of the 6-yard box, and it's cleared again by Dragovic, high up in the air. Didn't get too far outside the box. De Roon brings it down, but De Roon was holding his man, and it's a free kick which will be taken by the Austrians. But another very presentable half chance for the Dutch as it fell for Wijnaldum on the edge of the penalty area. The pull back to it just opened up his body and hit it with the instep of his right boot. Might actually have been going wide, but ended up being blocked.
Yeah, top quality play there by Van Aanholt. Drove in the box, little give and go, and I think the Dutch on both occasions there were a little bit guilty of overplaying. I personally, if I was them, I'd be more than happy if the first contactor would have got a shot away, Jim.
Well, the Dutch have scored at least twice in every game that they played in 2021 so far, and they should already have been able to maintain that particular streak inside the first half of this game. 4 minutes to go to half-time. Netherlands 1, Austria 0. Only previous tournament meeting between these two nations came back in the 1978 World Cup when the Dutch won 5-1 in Cordoba, with future Celtic boss Wim Jansen and future Southampton manager Jan Poortvliet in the team that day. The like of Rep and Rensenbrink on target, as the Dutch had a commanding win. And the way this is going, this could be a commanding win as well. 1-0 they lead. Ball out of play for a throw, which Denzel Dumfries will take. Earlier today in Group C, this group, Ukraine beat North Macedonia by 2 goals to 1. That means that Macedonians will be out of the tournament if this ends up as a draw. And then Belgium came from behind, a goal down very early on against Denmark. And came back to win 2-1. Kevin De Bruyne off the bench, made one and scored the winner. Stekelenburg clears for the Dutch towards halfway. Headed back by Alaba, brought down by Wijnaldum. Frenkie de Jong turning it over the top, appeals for offside, and the flag is up against Memphis Depay.
Yeah, good movement there. It's interesting to see the Dutch come alive. If on the occasion the Austrian backline plays reasonably high, which we saw a couple of minutes ago for Weghorst and Depay's effort, same again on this situation. As soon as they play high, the Dutch strikers are looking to exploit that space in behind. On that occasion, Depay just went slightly too early.
So here's David Alaba to his left-hand side for Hinteregger. Hinteregger to Baumgartner, who's just dropped into a wider position as they work the ball forward towards Sabitzer. De Vrij, who's the defensive enforcer in the Dutch team, has fouled him. Another free kick which will be taken by the Austrians. Just not allowing Sabitzer any easy possession at all, knowing his danger.
Both De Vrij and De Ligt are probably not the easiest to play against. They like to put some physical presence in and around the receiver on the ball, which is very, very good defensive play. But when De Vrij gets drawn out into these wide areas, I think that's where the Austrians have got to keep trying to exploit.
And Schlager's lost possession in a dangerous area. It's Wijnaldum bringing it forward. Plenty of time for Memphis Depay to try and pick his spot. His shot is blocked by Dragovic. Wijnaldum then would have been offside. He was in no position to try and go for the second ball. And Hinteregger can clear. Schlager losing possession in a very dangerous area. And he's mightily fortunate that the Dutch didn't come close to exploiting it. Sabitzer now working it wide. And Austria will try and bring it forward. Still haven't had a shot on target as we approach first half stoppage time. You're with TalkSport, where the Netherlands lead 1-0. Lena finding Lema, who will come into a central position. Now Ulmer, back for Lema again. Right-footed diagonal ball forward from him. And it's too long for the run from the fullback. And goes out of play for a goal kick. 1-0 to Holland.
Yeah, they've just struggled with the final pass, the Austrians. They've been in advanced areas on decent occasions, but the final pass, or when it's been received by a striker, to actually have the beating of a defender has not been there, and it's been a little bit costly for them at present.
Gone into stoppage time at the end of this first half, and might not be any need for any. Mark Stekelenburg stands over a goal kick. And there is going to be just a little bit of time to be added on. Sabitzer laid down the left flank. Just the one additional minute to be played here on TalkSport, with the Dutch leading courtesy of that Memphis Depay penalty, and the added time is only because of the time it took the referee to go over and have a look at the monitor in deciding that his initial diagnosis should I say, was incorrect. And it was a penalty, a foul by Alaba on Dumfries. Sabitzer playing it forward long. Gregoric trying to make something happen, but that has been a thankless task for him, dealing with that kind of ball that's been floated forward throughout this first half. And the Dutch will bring it away. And Frenkie de Jong's is the last touch of the first 45 minutes. Hugely entertaining, been played at a great tempo. And Austria came flying out of the traps and were trying to take the game to the Dutch. But ever since that 11th minute penalty from Memphis Depay, the Netherlands have been in complete control. They're 45 minutes away from winning this group. They lead Austria in Amsterdam by a goal to nil. Stags, thank you very much indeed. So, as you say, two sides out for the second half. Italy are through, Belgium are through, and the Dutch will be winning the group if it stays this way. The earlier result today, Ukraine beating North Macedonia by 2 goals to 1. Got off to a great start. Macedonians pegged them back, but Ukraine still able to get their first victory of the tournament. And the Netherlands hoping just to hang on here. Not that there's been much hanging on going on. They've looked so much better with Matthijs de Ligt playing in the middle of the centre of defence. Go through the two teams for you in a moment. But Austria in all black, kicking from left to right. And Stuart Pearce alongside me, Jim Proud, watching on from our studio monitors in London. And straight away Austria on the front foot at the beginning of the second half, and Lehmer able to make his way forward, and Sabitzer was waiting for the pullback. The sliding challenge came from de Ligt to get it away, and then as a right-footed cross comes in from Lehner, it's blocked and goes out of play for a throw which will be taken on the Austrian right-hand side. The Dutch leading 1-0, have Stekelenburg in goal, and it's De Vrij, de Ligt and Blind, Dumfries, Frenkie de Jong, de Roon and Van Aanholt, Wijnaldum, and then Weghorst and Depay up top. Austria, Bachmann in goal, Dragovic, Alaba, Hinteregger, and then Lehner, Schlager, Sabitzer and Ulmer, and Gregoritsch and Baumgartner, who haven't been able to get into the game, on the front two for Austria. Oro Grunfeld's the referee, de Roon and Alaba both in the book. The ball thrown towards the edge of the penalty area, and here's Memphis Depay on the score sheet with that 11th minute penalty, the difference between the two sides. Alongside me again for the second half is Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, I think the Dutch would have gone in at half-time more than pleased with the goal advantage, and certainly on top of that they created maybe 2 or 3 reasonable opportunities where they should have worked the goalkeeper slightly better. The Austrians failing really to get any efforts at goal, and really struggled a little bit. So I think personally I can only see the Dutch going on to extend their lead at this moment in time.
Now Patrick Van Aanholt is down holding his back after a challenge that came in on him. And it was just as he got the ball away, Baumgartner gave him a little shove. He's just come in from miles away, Baumgartner, and he's led with his arm into the small of the back of Van Aanholt. Bizarre.
Yes, Jim, I'm giving you a funny look. It's correct, because there was no real contact that should put a player of his stature on the floor, I don't think. We obviously disagree on that point.
No, I take on board what you're saying, and I've seen left backs, and I would suggest there's probably even one in the room that wouldn't have gone down under that kind of challenge in the past. But he's making his way. There's no chance of getting the ball, and he's just gone and invited the collision, made sure that it happens. But Van Aanholt, as you say, went to ground readily. Play goes on. Austria able to bring it forward now with Sabitzer. Sabitzer towards the edge of the area. A little reverse ball into his left-hand side. Couldn't pick out a teammate. And Van Aanholt is there just to win it back. He's done well. And all of a sudden there's a bit of space for Frenkie de Jong, who can come forward 10, 15 yards, 20 yards. Then work it to his right-hand side for Denzel Dumfries. Weghorst is in there. Pull back instead. It's Wijnaldum from the edge of the penalty area. And it was blocked. It hit Dragovic. And Austria were able to get it clear and find Sabitzer. It's a lovely first touch from him. He just controlled it on the top of his right boot, flicked it up, and the momentum of the Dutch defender saw him carry on running. That created a little bit of space for Sabitzer. But there is more space for Austria in general at the beginning of this second half.
Yeah, there seems to be, but what they failed to do in the last two attacks have been symptomatic of that. They failed to find a telling pass and give the ball away almost too cheaply, to be quite honest with you.
Now de Jong will play it for Weghorst. Is going to chase it, but Alaba's back there. Just a nick of time, wins it and guides it back for his goalkeeper. Bachmann can play out from the back and find Hinteregger. You're with Talk Sport, and it's 1-0 to the Dutch with 4 minutes gone in the second half.
Yeah, the Austrians playing a dangerous game there, held a very, very high line, and it was Alaba's just touch more pace than Weghorst got him out of trouble.
Lehmer coming down the right-hand touchline. Lehner had made an early run for him from right wing back. Lehmer electing to just bring it forward himself as it's played into a congested central area. The Dutch have the overload and can win it back with Gini Wijnaldum. Now launched forward towards Weghorst. He's backing into Alaba, who applauds the referee's decision, and it's a free kick to Austria inside the centre circle.
Yeah, I'm not sure which way that decision should have gone. I really don't, but the referee saw fit that Weghorst was the one impeding.
Here's Gregoritsch on the edge of the penalty area for Austria. The return ball to him was poor. Van Aanholt comes onto his weaker right foot to get it away. Sabitzer picks up the seconds just outside the penalty area. He'll be knocked away easily by the Dutch, but not effectively. And Ulmer, the fullback, can bring it back again. Andreas Ulmer, who's played a club record number of games for Salzburg, almost 500 for them, where he's won 11 league titles. He captained them to the double this season. And he's making his way forward again from left wing back. He'll chase the ball that's played for, but took a deflection, and it rolls through for Martin Stekelenburg. 51 on the clock, and it's 1-0 to the Dutch.
Jim, we're 5 minutes into the second half, and I'm on the count of about 5 times now the Austrians have given the ball away in the final third of the Dutch cheaply, where unless they find a clever pass and retain possession, they're never going to get themselves a goal in this game. They've been so loose with their attacking play.
Now are coming together between Hinteregger and Dumfries. Sees both players end up on the deck, both claiming that they were fouled, and the referee says it was just a collision. Both players had eyes for the ball. Neither got it, but both are okay. It's going to be a throw to restart play.
I think what's happened there, the manager said at half-time, is there any chance of someone stopping Dumfries getting a run on us and heading the ball inside the pitch? And that's exactly what's happened there. Hinteregger said, OK, I'll be your man, and basically took him out.
Dragovic playing it forward. Austria have it towards the edge of the penalty area, and it's a ball that is spun in by Lehner, and it hits Daley Blind, goes behind for the first corner of the night, 7 minutes into the second half.
What I would say in this game, there's two sides of the story that's gone on here. A, the Austrians have managed to get in the final third quite often in this second half, and that is alarm bells for the Dutch against a better team that will find a better final pass or will have a player that can deliver one-on-one scenarios.
Alaba swings the corner in. It wasn't worth the wait. The first corner of the night just ends up safely in the hands of goalkeeper Martin Stekelenburg, who will clutch it very gratefully into his breast and then bowl the ball forward out for Frenkie de Jong. And now a chance for Van Aanholt to make his way forward.
They're really looking loose, the Austrians. They're almost, their defensive line, when Holland come forward, their defensive line is very loose. They're looking to hold a really high line, and I've got to say it's a dangerous game to play against a side that can deliver a decent pass and make good movement in behind.
Ball's out for another throw, which will be taken on the Dutch left. Final games for these two in the group. Netherlands take on North Macedonia in Amsterdam on Monday. Austria go to Bucharest, where they play Ukraine, and as things stand at the moment, Austria and Ukraine will both have 3 points, and the winners of that one would qualify. The Dutch would already have won the group on head-to-head, even if they lose North Macedonia, irrespective of what happens on match day 3 for these two sides. Ball is out for a throw, which will be taken by Daley Blind on the left. In fact, he's thought better of it, just going to waste a little bit of time. Van Aanholt is one of several out-of-contract players at Crystal Palace, be playing his football elsewhere next season. Actually made his debut for the Dutch against Austria in the friendly, the last meeting of the two sides back in 2016. The Dutch won that one, and if they can hold on here, it'll be their 7th straight win against Austrian opposition. That's a run that stretches back a long time now to 1990, and Austria's last victory coming against the then European champions. Here's Denzel Dumfries making his way forward, and he can't find a way through, nor can he win the corner, as Ulmer defended it stoutly. The ball was playing a little double ricochet, and it comes back off Dumfries last. Out of play, it's a goal kick, and it's 1-0 with 9 minutes gone in the second half.
Yeah, I think the Dutch will be more than pleased if they can get this second goal. I think a second goal would put this game to bed. Can't overly see the Austrians scoring, but they have had a lot of final third entries, and it only takes one mistake or one slip or one piece of genius from someone, and I'm not sure who in the Austrian ranks, to equal things up.
Well, we've only had the one shot on target so far, and that came from the penalty spot. So not a single shot on target from open play. With 55 minutes gone, there's this stage of the first half that the Dutch found the lead. Memphis Depay, who scored from the spot, missed a chance from much closer range subsequently. Here's Gregoritsch to Baumgartner. Baumgartner wearing 19, trying to find a ball inside the penalty area. Blind then stands firm and stops Lehner getting past him. High ball that's sent forward. Depay going up for it with Schlager. Schlager can come away with possession. Wijnaldum's been fouled though by Sabitzer. And it's a free kick which will be taken by the Netherlands, about 15 yards or so outside their own penalty area. They still lead 1-0, and a reminder that if they win this and do win the group as a consequence, they will play a round of 16 tie in Budapest, where they will meet one of the third placed teams. Stuart and I speculating earlier about exactly what you will need at the moment to be a best third place team. 4 of the 6 that finish third will go through, and it may well be that 3 points and a goal difference of about -1-ish will be enough. I expect that the cut's going to be there. I think 4 points will definitely see you through. It's hard to see that Wales are going to blow it from the position of strength that they're in at the moment after their heroics yesterday in Baku. De Roon playing the ball forward now. Weghorst and Frenkie de Jong will almost squeeze it through. Then a second time to try and get it over the top of the Austrian back line, and Alaba headed it away. And Ulmer will be able to bring it forward now for Austria into Dutch territory. Sabitzer takes over. Works down towards the left-hand side for Gregoritsch. Gregoritsch back for Sabitzer. His top knot bobbing behind him. Play by him into the feet of Lehner in the midfield. It's Lehner in midfield and Lehner at right back. Alaba has it now. The edge of the centre circle. Man played more than 430 games for Bayern Munich. Playing it forward for Schlager. Schlager to Sabitzer again. Sabitzer turning neatly, trying to get himself into a shooting position, and then did unleash a shot which was a low skidder which was going well wide and was diffidently knocked away by the lift. The loose ball cleared by the Dutch finds Gini Wijnaldum in space on the Netherlands left inside Austria's half. Still no sign of that equalising goal. We've played 12 minutes in this second period.
No, and the Austrian back line now are taking shortcuts, Jim, with their defensive work. On the counter-attack and on the break, they're holding a really, really high line, and if it wasn't for a wayward pass a couple of seconds earlier, the Dutch would have been in on goal. And here, once again, high line, not stand with your runners. They're taking shortcuts, they're cheating on their defensive work, and it will be costly at some stage.
Well, it was Wijnaldum that time, and he had the run of Weghorst. He's not the quickest, but he had a big gap to try and play him in on that occasion.
Well, when you've got a foot race on and you're facing the opposition's goal and they're facing away from their goal, and you've got a head start, you can probably put 5-6 metres between you and the defender if they're facing the wrong way and holding a high line, and you can't do that. And if the Dutch get a pass right, they'll score another goal.
So still more than half an hour to go in this. But from what you've seen of the Dutch, where do you think they will end up in this tournament? Because they've been much better defensively today, but a little bit ragged going forward in many ways. They haven't been able to make the most of the kind of opportunities that they could exploit. And you've already talked in the second half, Stu, about defensively, although they've been better than they were against Ukraine, Austria have got themselves into more promising positions where a potent final ball from them could have caused the Netherlands problems. So will De Boer be getting frustrated now at the performance?
I think he'll be quite happy with the defensive performance, in respect that I don't think his goal's under threat in the game. That's down to the Austrians being a little bit inept in front of goal. What I would say is the alarm bells are ringing that the opposition could get in your final third too readily.
Here's the pie, trying to roll it in towards Van Aanholt. Weghorst is waiting in the middle. The cross is very effectively blocked by Lehner, and it goes out of play for the Netherlands' first corner of the night with an hour gone. They lead 1-0.
Yeah, and to follow on with your question, where do I see the Dutch finishing up? I think they played a lot better tonight than they did in the first game. That would be my assessment so far. I see a team that are reasonable up front, but not fantastic. and I see a team that I think they're okay. I think they're a quarter-final team, or with a good draw, a semi-final team, but not beyond that.
Depay swinging this corner in. It's a great save, and then missed by De Ligt, and it hit the defender and squirms just the wrong side of the post for the Dutch. It's out of play for another corner. Could easily have been 2-0. That corner causing all kinds of problems. High ball towards the far post. The giant Weghorst nodding it through. De Vrij turning it towards goal. Ricocheted off with a good save from the keeper. And De Ligt will feel he should have scored. And it comes again from Depay. That one headed away. Right-footed effort from Martin de Roon is probably the most off-target shot of the night. But it could and should have been 2-0.
It certainly should have. It's Weghorst again setting things up, and the two centre-half combining. Well, in between that, a fantastic save. Well, it was a good save by the goalkeeper. But to be honest with you, I don't think he could do any more than that. I think his momentum might have taken him over the line if he'd have caught the ball. But they've rode their luck there. I just think that the next goal will finish, if it comes from the Dutch, it will finish this game totally.
Sasha Kalajdzic comes on, Stuttgart striker. He scored both goals against Scotland in March, and Florian Grillitsch is on for Austria as well. So a double change being made. Grillitsch, who's on the books of Hoffenheim, a central midfielder. Can play a centre-half as well, but has come on in midfield here to replace Lema. So Austria making their first two changes. Franco Foda calling for the pack. Here's Depay, I beg your pardon, trying to work it inside the area. And Weghorst getting a half chance on the turn. And he screwed it wide, shanking it with the outside of his right boot well wide. Still 1-0 to the Dutch. And just confirmation of those changes. Kalajdzic on for Gregoritsch up front, and Grillitsch on for Lema in the midfield. Netherlands leading Austria by a goal to nil. Here's Wijnaldum towards the edge of the D. Inside the penalty area, Van Aanholt couldn't give him the return ball. It then hits the retreating Sabitzer and could have caused problems, but will be whacked upfield. Kalajdzic, who is, I would guess, as tall as Weghorst, just about. I mean, he's going to be 6'5" at the very least. A player who started the game against North Macedonia but was left out. He's got a good record behind him. He scored in 7 successive Bundesliga matches at one stage this season. 17 goals for Stuttgart over the course of the campaign. Will he be able to make a difference as the focal point of the balls forward now for Austria, who themselves might try and mix it up a little bit more? Here's Blind in towards De Jong, who has caught his man. Foul on Lena, and it's going to be a free kick, just a mistimed challenge from number 21 on the other, and the Israeli referee gives Austria a free kick on halfway. They trail 1-0.
Yeah, just having a look at a rerun of that challenge there by Frankie de Jong, and to be fair, I think it was probably just one. And interesting now, the Dutch are making 3 substitutions. Obviously, potentially wants to shore things up at the back, potentially.
So Ake for Blint is one change that is being made. Owen Wijndal is coming on as well, which may well see Van Aanholt taken off, and Donjan Malen is the other Dutchman who's going to be introduced. But this is something we talked about earlier, the match management, the tournament management. The Dutch know that they're in a strong position here. Leading by a goal nil, this is a result that would see them win the group, and they have an opportunity, and they haven't got the 3 points against their name yet, but they have an opportunity just to take some of the older stages out of the firing line a little bit for some of the battles that lie ahead. Van Aanholt in his 30s now, so he comes off. Wijndal is on, and it's Weghorst, the striker, who's the man that's been replaced by Malen. So I think Depay will play up top on his own now, and Malen will play sort of as an inside left in behind him. And the ball is clear by the Dutch back line, out of play for an Austria throw.
The one thing I would say about making 3 substitutions, I can understand it if you're chasing the game and it's you're throwing caution to the wind a little bit, Jim. I don't know what your views on this, but I think when you're in front in a game, I think it's a big judgment call, to actually make 3, and the momentum of your team and the rhythm of your team, especially when you're just 1-0 in front and you're quite comfortable in the game.
Well, it's something, I know it wasn't a triple change that Petkovic made for the Swiss against Wales at a relatively early stage, back near the start of the tournament, but that saw the flow disrupted. I think the only thing you would say is that because they can make 5 changes but can only do so at 3 junctures, by making the triple now, he can make 2 single substitutions as and when he sees fit. But I agree with you, that's, he's changed 30% of his outfield players in one fell swoop here, and changed the shape as well, very slightly. The ball cleared by the Austrian goalkeeper Bachmann, and it's ricocheted off Ake, down from Weindl, who many Dutch fans were expecting was going to be the first choice left wing back in this tournament, but hasn't proved to be the case so far. Owen Weindl, who plays his club football up country in Alkmaar for AZ. 4 towards the pie, the goal scorer, and flicked over the top, and now Daniel Malen is in, and he's clean through. He's got the goalkeeper to beat, he's knocked it square, and he's put in for 2-0, and the Dutch surely have won the group now. Denzel Dumfries again. Hadn't scored an international goal the other night. It's 2-2 for him, and the Dutch are going to be winning the group.
Well, an inspired substitution. We've always said that. We're just mentioning earlier about this high line, and it was no more than 5-6 metres from the halfway line. The back line have just held their ground and ceded so much space in behind, and the writing was on the wall, to be honest. We are really poor defending, and we're just looking at a replay, definitely onside and really unselfish from Marlon. Personally, I'm surprised he hasn't taken the effort on himself, but as we've seen earlier, they're happy to make that extra pass. He did. Dumfries, great energy to get up alongside him, and a good finish.
There's Hinteregger that didn't hold the line. He played Daniel Malen on for the initial run, and then Malen made 30-40 yards with the ground and just knocked it square. And Dumfries from right wing back in the position to tap it in. There was an immediate inquest from Daniel Bachmann. Well, he has to know that the VAR will be having a look at it. There's no point in him going across and giving the linesman plenty at 120 decibels, because it will be checked, and if it was offside, it'll be disallowed. It wasn't. The goal stands. Bachmann's in the book, and the Netherlands are 2-0 up and coasting.
Yeah, you're right what you say. It's astounding this day and age with players. Any goals, they're going to be checked, so it's not even worth having a word with the officials. But the Austrian back line there, so high, just ridiculously high, and it's almost, you're taking too many shortcuts, and they've been doing that since the start of the second half, and you can't sustain that.
Lehner to take a throw for Austria, who are 2 down. But you'll remember, in the first game of this group, the Netherlands led by 2-0 at this stage, and it was 2-2 within 7 or 8 minutes. Ended up winning it late on with Dumfries. He's on the score sheet again. A man who has now scored as many international goals as different countries he's represented in his international career, having won a couple of caps as a teenager for Aruba before changing allegiance to the Netherlands. Another Austrian corner. Alaba swinging it in, and it was a free header for Hinteregger, but he couldn't hit the target. And it's gone into the Dutch crowd behind the goal. And it's 2-0 with 20 minutes to go.
Yeah, if I had to put my money on a scoreline now or a next score, it would certainly be the Dutch again. I think if the Austrians continue playing that high defensive line, then it's going to be too costly for them. And they're not threatening the Dutch goal in any way, shape or form at the other end of the pitch.
Well, they're going to make another change, Austria, and it's Valentino Lazaro, who had a loan spell at Newcastle last season, who's going to come on. And Baumgartner makes way. So Baumgartner's been playing through the middle. Lazaro, a winger or a fullback, is the player that has come on to replace him. Now, it'll be interesting to see exactly where he's going to play, whether they will switch it and play with the front three. Lazaro playing wide on the right hand side of a front three, Kalajic through the middle. The Dutch trying to make headway again, but Alaba can knock it away. Immediately returned with a header from De Vrij. Dumfries battling, trying to get the better of Ulmer. But Austria will get it away with Hinteregger. Sent forward long towards Lazaro. Ake climbing over him, beats him in the air. Now he comes down on the right-hand side of the Austrian midfield. Play forward into the feet of the tall Kalajic again. Little reverse ball finding Lazaro, who's been lively since coming on. Kalajic able to turn. Little reverse ball round the back of Ake, who slid in, but has put it behind for another corner. Austria's third in quick succession. 2-0 to the Dutch.
Yeah, if the Austrians are going to get anything out of this at all, they're going to have to reply very quickly. I think the confidence looks as though it's ebbing away from them slightly. But Lazaro's offered a little something. He's looked nice and energetic, got on the ball, got turned, little runs in behind.
Arm above his head from the dreadlocked Austrian substitute, swinging the ball in, and it's crept just wide. It just bobbled around and hit one of the defenders on the edge of the 6-yard box and squirmed 3-4 inches past the post. Stecklenburg was watching and praying as it just flicked off. I think it was probably Weindl that it hit last. Very nearly an own goal. Another corner from Lazaro, and the Dutch struggling to deal with them. Alaba threw himself towards it. It was eventually cleared, but they don't look comfortable defending those set pieces, which will be an encouraging sign for whoever's going to play them later in the tournament.
No, where they've struggled, the Austrians, to find a final pass in the last third. They certainly haven't when it's come to set plays, and obviously the big fella on there up front now, he's got every opportunity of causing the odd problem.
But the Dutch, when they bring it forward themselves, are causing more problems. Weindl's made a good run forward. It's played in towards Van Alden. Memphis Depay, very optimistic indeed. Minimal backlift, but he skied it over the top right-hand corner. And it's gone out of play for a goal kick, which will be taken by Daniel Bachmann for Austria. The Dutch leading by 2-0. Depay's penalty on 11 minutes. Denzel Dumfries on 67. And we've got more live action for you tomorrow. All 3 games, 4 live commentaries. 2 from England against Scotland, with an English angle or a Scottish angle, whichever you see fit. If you're a Scotland supporter, TalkSport 2 is the place for you, with the build-up starting at 6 ahead of an 8 o'clock kick-off. And Stuart and Sol Campbell alongside me, Mark Saggers, Jose Mourinho, tomorrow talking through England against Scotland with an England angle, the game kicking off at 8. But Sags with the build-up from 6 tomorrow night on TalkSport. Now that's the 3rd game of the day. And the other 2 coming your way as well. Sweden against Slovakia is first up on TalkSport 2. And then the other game in the England-Scotland group, which is the Czech Republic against Croatia, a 5 o'clock kickoff on TalkSport 2. Again, we've got it all covered for you on the network. The Dutch are going to make another change, and Ryan Gravenberch is the player that is going to come on. Made his debut as recently as March against Turkey, scored against Georgia in the final warm-up game. He's been an Ajax first teamer since he was 16. They really rate this young man, and he comes on for his 6th cap, replacing Martin de Roon in the heart of the midfield.
Yeah, fantastic that players, young players, getting the opportunity at this major tournament for varying countries. Obviously Jude Bellingham come on and joined in the game a couple of nights ago for England. Fantastic to see.
Yeah, Gravenberch older than Bellingham, but there's not an awful lot in it. But he's already played 60 games for Ajax. Jude's got 90-odd first-team games behind him now. Talking of Jude Bellingham, incidentally, his little brother, who's also on the books of Birmingham, as Jude was at the start of his career, they reckon is a star in the making as well. Job Bellingham, who is, I think, still 14, maybe 15 now, but another name to look out for. Here's Hinteregger bringing it forward. Out to the Austrian left-hand side for Alaba, who's pushing forward more readily now from that sweeper's position. He's gone back out to his favoured left-hand side. Dragovic getting towards 20 yards to the edge of the penalty area, sends in a swinging cross. Stecklenburg able to make a very comfortable save, and he's collapsing to the ground. No need for him to do so, but it's just a delaying tactic as the clock ticks down. 15 minutes to go And the Dutch lead Austria by 2-0 in Amsterdam.
Yeah, the camera just panning round the Austrian crowd, and their expression says it all. They look a beaten nation, if the supporters' facials are anything to go by.
I thought you were going to say they look a laugh a minute.
Can be forgiven for being a little bit grumpy. They are 2-0 down and don't look as though they've got a goal in them.
I'm sure they'll have an excellent night out ahead of them, but the result isn't going to be part of it, I don't think. Depay playing it forward now for the runner Gravenberch down the right-hand side of the penalty area. Pulled back for Depay again on the corner of the box. He tried to fashion the ball back for Denzel Dumfries, but one goal scorer couldn't find the other, and Lazaro makes his way up the left-hand touchline for the Austrians. Dumfries slid in, and the last touch was deemed to be Lazaro's, and it's going to be a throw which will be taken by the Netherlands, and Dumfries has just been caught in the Galloways. He's going to need a little bit of treatment, I think. He should be able to continue readily enough. 14 minutes to go. The Dutch leading Austria by 2-0. He's still not happy, hopping up and down. Denzel Dumfries. He's made his impression in this tournament with a couple of goals. He's got... You thought those Austrian fans were unhappy. He's got pain etched right across his face. He's not at all amused. Play goes on. He's okay. He's fit to continue. Here's Lazaro.
Needed a good pair of Lederhausens on there to offer a bit more protection, Jim.
Here's Lazaro on the right-hand side of the Austrian midfield. Back he goes for Dragovic, who's going to be playing his club football with Red Star Belgrade next season, his grandfather's club. Backman dribbling his way outside the penalty area, almost into trouble, somehow emerged unscathed with possession. An opportunity for Austria to bring it forward. Sabitzer coming through the centre circle. Laid off by him to Grilic. Sabitzer making his way towards the edge of the penalty area. The ball finding Alaba. Grilic, since he's come on, has just dropped into the defensive line to free up Alaba to be able to make his way forward into areas where he might be able to be more involved. It's Schlager towards the edge of the box, looking for Lazaro, easily knocked away by Weindal, but a heavy touch. Back it'll come in again from Lehner on the corner of the penalty area. He's all right foot and didn't want to cross with his left. Laid off towards the edge of the penalty area. Grilic taking it forward, then didn't go any further. Schlager chipping it inside the box, couldn't find a teammate. Ulmer had made the run. Van Alden can't bring it away. It's all very scrappy for a moment. In he comes again inside that penalty area, but Ake will head away. Back, for Dragovic. Now down towards Grilic. Being pressed immediately by Gini Van Alden. And he's forced to work it all the way back to his goalkeeper, Daniel Backman. And Austria will try and bring it forward, but they've only got 12 minutes and they need 2 to even get a draw tonight. They're 2-0 down with time very much against them.
Yeah, you can't help thinking, just even having the option of an Arnautovic available today, whether it be to start or impact the bench like he did the other day, would have, you don't visualise anything coming from any of these sort of possession areas where they should be looking to stretch the Dutch defence a lot more than they have done. It's a real Achilles heel of theirs, I think, this evening.
Yeah, he scored in the last meeting of the two sides on Dutch soil, actually. Marko Arnautovic was some 10 years ago now. But tonight, without him, he serves his one-match ban. His compatriots haven't had a single shot on target. 13-5 the shot count in the Netherlands' favour. And 4-zip on target. Alaba. Played out to the Austrian left. It's knocked away by De Vrij, who's not had too much defending to do recently. Sweeps that one clear. It goes out of play for a throw to be taken on the far touchline for Austria in their all-black change kit. And they'll find Ukraine an easier nut to try and crack than the Dutch have been this evening, but nevertheless Ukraine have got a bit about them going forward. They've scored 4 goals in the tournament already. Kalajic lays it off for Alaba. Alaba looking up, surveying his options, then there was nothing that he fancied. Had to go back in the end for Hinteregger. Played for, flicked round the corner for Alaba, who continued his run. Knocked away though by Dumfries. Dumfries controlling it a little bit awkwardly. Memphis Depay ends up with the ball at his feet and he can flick it wide for Marlon. Back for the blue-booted De Vrij. De Vrij, long angled right-footed ball over the top. The idea was right. Again, the Austrians defending with that highlight. It was Weindl, the left wing-back, who was making the run forward, but just started from a little bit too deep and he couldn't get there in time.
Yeah, the Dutch look to me as though they've settled for a 2-0 victory. They don't feel threatened at all by the Austrians, and you can see why. And one or two of the Dutch players are almost gone into slow motion. They want to make sure that they don't open the door, because any goal will cause a problem.
Alaba! Across the face of goal and wide. That's easily the best moment of the game, as it just broke his way and he took a touch, brought it forward, cut across the ball, whacked it past Stekelenburg's goal, and it only went about maybe a couple of feet wide, just a little bit too much curve, but he didn't miss by much.
I think a couple of feet is not doing it justice. It looked probably about 6 or 8 inches there, and that all come from the Dutch midfield just switched off a little bit, thinking they can get over the line, save a bit of energy, and at this standard of football you cannot do that.
Well, they'll make the final change now, and Memphis Depay comes off and Luc de Jong is on to replace him. Sevilla striker who scored in 3 successive games back in March, but hasn't found the net in any of his last 11 for club or country since then. And he's on. Another tall target man, not quite as tall, not quite as effective, you could argue, as Weghorst, who he's replaced. One-time Newcastle striker whose brother Siem de Jong was on their books as well for a time. And he's come on for the final few minutes. 8 to go. Austria on the front foot with Sabitzer. Can they get a goal back to set up a grandstand finale? Sabitzer taking the ball one way, then taking it the other. It was 3 against 3 for a moment there when he picked up possession, but by the time he laid it off, it was 3 against 9. Good turn through the midfield for Grilic. Dragovic will make his way forward. Played down towards the right wing back. Lehner, right-footed ball swung inside the penalty area. De Ligt had to stretch, steers the header away. Ulner, the left back, recycles in. Alaba's ball inside the penalty area. Heads go up for it and flicked by Dragovic towards the edge of the box. Should be easily cleared by Weindl. He just tries one of those sidewinders away, but only found Grilic, and all of a sudden Austria attacking with more intensity, able to bring the ball forward again. Down it comes on the right-hand side of the midfield. And Schlager bundled into by Wijnaldum, but no foul. The Dutchman helps his Austrian counterpart up, and Austria will make their final 2 changes. Onisiwo, a striker, is coming on, and Lienhart is coming on as well. Lienhart will replace Dragovic, so that's a centre-half for a centre-half. And Alexander Dragovic, one of the older men in the starting lineup, makes way. And Schlager, the midfielder, is replaced by Onisiwo, a striker. So an attack-minded change being made with 8 minutes to go as they chase the game.
Well, they've got no choice whatsoever here. Everything that they've done is they're knocking on a door that just will not open. You know, they haven't had the quality to find a pass or the individual brilliance to go past anyone. So they've got to do something different in the hope to get a goal in these later stages.
Kalajic chipping it over the top. Onisiwo, well, might have scored with his first touch. It was an attempt on target. Just falling forward, a header on the Kalajic's cross, and he got in round the back of Stefan De Vrij. But he couldn't divert his header either side. Stekelenburg.
Yeah, De Vrij looked a little bit wooden there as he was turned round, and probably the best option would have been potentially to let it fall and hit it with a bit of venom with his feet, but decided to take it with his head, and the goalkeeper read it.
Honestly, well, a striker who's on the books of Mainz in Germany, just 4 Bundesliga goals this season. 2-0 to the Netherlands here on TalkSport. Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce talking through the action from our London studios. The game taking place in Amsterdam. Well, the weather has broken in many parts of our country over the last 24 hours. It hasn't yet in the northern Netherlands. Frankie de Jong. He's playing that a little bit deeper now, finding Manchester City's Nathan Ake. Ake to De Vrij. We're into the final 5 minutes. De Jong, De Vrij, Ake. Just easy possession football for the Dutch, but Ake now given the license to make his way forward, and having done so, it's a great run and a rotten pass, and then Kalajdzic with a neat turn in the midfield. On a Seawell making a run ahead of him. Orange shirts converging around the ball, but Kalajdzic did well to hold it up and temporarily take 4 Dutchmen out of the picture. Space for Lena to deliver, a ball that's far too high for Kalajdzic, but he will find the other fullback Ulmer, and his driven cross is deflected behind for a corner.
Yeah, even on that occasion when Ake done really well to surge into the opposition's half, then he gives it away. You never got the impression at all that the Austrians are going to break and hurt the Dutch. Just give them time to get back behind the ball. No individual ability to beat anybody one-on-one.
So the Netherlands with nearly everybody back, a real high left-footed in-swinging corner which is headed away. And goes out for a throw which will be taken by the Austrians. I think Lena might just have got a bang to the side of the head there. He just gave it a little bit of a rub as he made his way to pick up the ball from in front of the hoardings. Throw taken into the feet of Lazaro and straight back again. Now Lazaro's got it once more. Play back by him towards the edge of the penalty area. Grilic taking it on. Right in the first challenge which comes in. Grilic inviting Lena to make a passing angle. Lena wanted to try and stay onside. Lazaro, Alaba faced up by Ake. One out of them should be able to bring it away, and then he'll check back inside and just play the ball with the instep of the right boot down towards the left-hand side for Daniel Malen. And Malen, the former Arsenal trainee, just driving forward, but couldn't find a way past Hinteregger, who's on the right of the centre-halves now. Lionel picks up the loose ball and finds Malen. 2-0 to the Dutch with 3 minutes to go. Frankie de Jong. Back from him to Gravenberg. To Ake. Now Thijs de Ligt. And de Ligt, who's a Europa League finalist for Ajax as a 17-year-old before his move to Juventus. Now finding Ake again. The Dutch inside their own half, calming things down. Luc de Jong to Gravenberg. De Jong making his run forward. Gravenberg with a ball towards the edge of the penalty area, which was easily enough cut out. Bachmann again with the ball at his feet, looking a bundle of nerves as he didn't know which way to turn, right or left, and in the end he got it away past the press. But every time he goes back to the Austrian goalkeeper, they put immediate pressure on him to the Dutch. Throw to Austria, they'll bring it away, and then they have a free kick inside their own half.
Yeah, both teams look at the Austrians look as though that they know they can't score a goal, and the Dutch really just want to get over the line, get the final whistle blown. I thought there was a Bachmann turn-up overdrive emphasis coming from yourself just then, but obviously not. Too obvious.
The ball is in the midfield. Well, you say too obvious, but you ain't seen nothing yet. Here's Lazaro, right-hand side of the penalty area. Back for Lena. Lena to Grilic. Just play forward again to Sabitzer. Sabitzer back out towards Lazaro. He's got 3 black-shirted players inside the penalty area, and he found one of them, but the header from Kalajdzic was off target. Some way off target. And he goes out of play. And de Ligt's just got a touch of cramp. It's his first game back. He's been struggling with his groin injury. Well, the young man just having his potential problem just stretched off over the last couple of minutes. Depay with an 11th minute penalty. Denzel Dumfries on 67, and the Dutch are leading by 2-0. And Austria have offered very little. I know a lot of people don't really read too much into expected goals, but the Dutch expected goals tally just a little bit north of 3 tonight, and Austria's is still down at 0.7. Just that one presentable opportunity really for them that they couldn't take. Stekelenburg to take this goal kick, and then just as he swings it forward, the Ligt goes down injured again. But the problem they've got is, as they again try and deal with the cramp that he's suffering with, they've made all 5 changes. He's going to have to try and labour on through the 30 seconds plus stoppage time that remains. Kalajdzic very sportingly going across to attend to him. But the Dutch might have to end with 10. I'm sure they'll try and labour through. We're almost in stoppage time. 2-0, and they're going to win the group.
Yeah, and rightly so. On the night, they've been the better team. They've created more chances. They've taken both of their chances. They've probably over-elaborated on a couple of occasions where they could have scored against a better team. Will they defend slightly better, the Dutch? Probably might well do. The question mark for me would be they've let the Austrians get in their final third too often, and better teams will cause them a problem. Now, tonight the Austrians didn't have the individual ability or the collective ability to do so. I wonder, would the likes of the French, the Italians be as accommodating as the Austrians against the Dutch? But you can do no more than win both your games and get through after 2 games.
So the Dutch temporarily down to 10 now, as De Ligt, I think, his race is run. And they're playing with the back 5. They've dropped Frenkie de Jong in there on the right of 3 centre-halves. De Ligt does now come back on. It doesn't look as though he's moving particularly comfortably, but he has a grin on his face. We're in 4 minutes of stoppage time. In fact, we've just gone into the second minute of the 4. There's big wide smiles on the Dutch bench. Not from Frank de Boer, but there seldom is, but there certainly was from Erwin Koeman and from some of the other substitutes as well. It's 2-0 as Wijnaldum just couldn't quite take the ball into stride and get past Hinteregger. Ulm was going to be able to bring it away. Austria were disappointed tonight with their efforts. They haven't played as well, albeit against better opposition, but they haven't really played as well as they did against North Macedonia. Notwithstanding the fact that they needed 2 goals in the last 12 minutes to get themselves a 3-1 victory on that occasion. Alaba plays a straight ball forward here, and Stekelenburg will come out and claim it very comfortably on the left-hand side of his penalty area. Austria still in with a very big shout of making it through. Remember, they never got to the knockout stages of the Euros, but they'll be in decent shape against Ukraine. What they don't have in their favour for that final game against Ukraine is the draw on their side to finish second in the group. They finish with 4 points, and Ukraine also finish with 4 points. If the match between them ends all square as a draw, then it will go down to overall goal difference in the group. Here's Wijndal bringing it forward. The left-hand side, looking for Wijnaldum's run. Wijnaldum towards the edge of the penalty area. The Dutch captain's a lovely turn, getting the better of Hinteregger. Just had a little pull of the shirt. Wijnaldum, brutally honest, stayed on his feet. Will try and make anything more of it. And Austria will be able to bring it away. Played by Gregoric. Down towards the right-hand side. Sabitzer has it now. Sabitzer looks up, sees Kalajdzic making a run for him. Olasio Rose there as well. Just worked a little bit more conservatively out towards the left-hand side. 40 seconds to go. 2-0 to the Dutch, who can now bring it away with De Vrij. And De Vrij into space. And Marlon has the chance to run. And it's 3 against 2. They might yet get a third. Stoniel Marlon goes for goal. And he had Stefan De Vrij as a square ball inside the penalty area. But he went for the headlines and found the crowd.
This is where players don't read the opposition player. He had Hunteraga just facing him up, and Hunteraga's body language to me was saying, please, whatever you do, don't take me on. I can't run anymore. And he obliged. Instead of just taking him on and saying, right, come on in, let's see what you've got in the tank. He's hit a shot so speculatively, it was never going in.
Time for one last Austrian attack potentially. Oro Grinfeld, the Israeli referee, looks at his watch. Ball is played in the Dutch penalty area and headed away by De Vrij. And then a collision between 2 players as it came back out. It was Grulic that went up for it. A free kick given against him that there is no time to take. Well, that is job done as far as the Dutch are concerned. 7 years without playing at a major tournament, but they're played 2, 1-2, and they have won the group. They know that they're now guaranteed not to face a group winner until the semi-finals at least. It's opened up very nicely for them. They haven't been at their best, but as far as this tournament's concerned, the future's bright, the future's orange. The Dutch 2, Austria 0.